Hi there, I'm Miss Kerrie and I work with the Muskegon County Library System. Today we're going to share some fun rhymes and fairy tales with you. But first, let's do our welcome song. If you're ready for a story, clap your hands. If you're ready for a story, clap your hands. Clap your hands, stomp your feet, fold your hands up nice and neat. If you're ready for a story, have a seat. All right, is everybody in their seats? Okay, the first story we have is of Hansel and Gretel, which I'm going to tell using shadow puppets. The library has take-and-make sets just like this that you can use to tell your stories at home. Or if you're like me, you can use a pizza box and some tissue paper and a flashlight. Once upon a time, there were two siblings, a young boy and a young girl named Hansel and Gretel. They lived together with their father and stepmother in a tiny house at the edge of the forest. Their father was a woodcutter, and he was very, very poor, and he became ill and was unable to work. They were down to their last loaf of bread. Late one night, the woodcutter said to his wife, "We have no money left for food. What are we going to do?" The stepmother said, "We cannot feed ourselves and the children. We're starving because they eat so much. We must get rid of them." The father didn't know what to say. "They don't mean any harm," he said. "They're just children." The stepmother said, "I have an idea. Take the children deep into the forest and leave them there. They'll never find their way back home." Being weak, the father agreed it would be best. Hansel and Gretel, right here, had been listening at the door. And Gretel was very frightened, but Hansel had a plan. Gretel cried softly, "Oh, brother, I'm so afraid. We can't survive out there." Hansel, however, was not afraid. In fact, he had a plan to protect them. "Don't worry, Gretel. I know what to do," whispered Hansel. When everyone was asleep, Hansel crept outside the house and filled his pockets with small white pebbles. The next day, the children's father and stepmother took them for a walk into the forest. "We will go into the forest and find flowers," the stepmother said with a smile. And they walked farther and farther away from the cottage. Hansel dropped pebbles on the path to guide his way back home. When they finally reached a deep part of the forest, the father and the stepmother told the children to sit under a tree. "Sit under this tree and wait for them." "We will go find some berries for us to eat," said the stepmother. When they did not return, the children began to walk. "It's time to go home," said Hansel. And they followed the trail of small white pebbles all the way back home. The father was so happy to see them. "Oh, thank God you're safe, children." Here they are going home. That night, the children again overheard their parents talking. "Tomorrow we will take them much deeper into the forest. They'll never come home again," said the stepmother. And again, Hansel waited until everyone was asleep so he could gather more pebbles to guide his way home. But this night, the door was locked and Hansel could not get out. So he carefully cut away a piece of the last loaf of bread and put it in his pocket. The next day, the family again went into the woods. As they walked deeper and deeper into the dark forest, Hansel stopped now and then, dropping crumbs of bread from his pocket. The father and the stepmother again told the children to wait under the tree, promising this time they'd certainly return with berries. The children waited, but the parents never returned. "It's time to go home," said Hansel. But a terrible thing had happened. Birds saw the tasty crumbs and flew down and had eaten every crumb of bread Hansel had dropped. The children were now very lost, and Gretel began to cry. "We will be all right, Gretel," Hansel said, comforting his sister. Hansel and Gretel wandered the forest, hoping to find help. The children became quite tired and hungry. Then, just as they thought they could walk no more, they came upon a very strange house. The house was made of candy, chocolate, and gingerbread. The children couldn't believe their eyes. They started to eat the house. Nom, 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 nom. They both exclaimed while eating, "What a delicious house!" Suddenly, an old woman opened the door, and smiling, she invited them in. She welcomed Hansel and Gretel into her home and fed them food and put them to bed. Here they are going to bed. But once they were fast asleep, the old woman took them and put them into cages. Uh-oh. Here they are in jail. Hansel and Gretel awoke in the morning to discover that the old woman was actually a witch, and they had fallen right into her trap. Go. The witch cackled, "Ha ha 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 ha!" She liked to eat children, but she liked them plump. Hansel and Gretel were much too thin, so she'd have to fatten them up. "Please, please let us go, old witch," said Hansel. She made Gretel get out of the cage and do all of the house chores. Horrible, I know. There she is, cooking and cleaning. Hansel was left in the cage. Each day the witch would come over and check his plumpness, planning to eat him first. "Stick out your finger so I can see how fat you are," the witch told Hansel. Hansel had noticed the witch couldn't see very well, so each day when he checked, he put out a chicken bone between the bars instead of his finger. "Too skinny," shouted the witch, and she ordered Gretel to cook more food. Day after day, the witch waited for Hansel to get fatter. However, the witch grew very impatient, and she decided that she was no longer going to wait. "I'll eat him anyway," she screamed at Gretel. "Then I'll eat you." The witch ordered Gretel to build the fire in the great stone oven. Gretel made the fire hot and roaring. When the fire was hot enough for roasting, the witch led Gretel to the oven and opened the door. "Now check if the oven is ready. Crawl in, little girl." The witch was secretly planning to roast Gretel first, since she was so nice and plump. She planned to shut the oven once Gretel was inside. Gretel, being as smart as her brother, realized this, and she looked at the open oven. Pretending to be confused, Gretel asked, "How can I? It's too small for anyone to fit in there. I'm not sure I can get in." "What's wrong with you, silly goose?" said the witch. "I'm big enough to fit in." And the witch opened the door as wide as she could and peered into the oven. As fast as she could, Gretel gave the witch an enormous push. And the witch went right in, and the little girl slammed the door shut. She ran to release Hansel from the cage. "We're saved," said Gretel, and they cried happy tears for surviving the awful witch. In a corner of the house, they could see something sparkling. It was the witch's treasure. The children filled their pockets with food and treasure for their long journey home. After many days, they found their way home. Running as fast as they could, they called out for their father, who came running to them. And he hugged them as tight as he could. Their father was so ashamed of abandoning his children, especially after the mean stepmother had died from eating poisonous mushroom on the way back through the forest. Hansel and Gretel were home at last, and the wicked witch was gone. They gave their father the treasure, and they never were hungry again. So the next time your grandmother pinches your cheek and says you're so cute she could just eat you, don't worry. Go ahead and eat the sweets that she offers you. I'm sure she only cooks strange kids who eat her house. A fun game you can play to go along with this story is Candyland. I prepared a homemade Candyland for you guys, which you can see down below in our links. And then you can color that set at home. Candyland is actually a really great game to practice finding your colors and patterns. All right, so next we're going to do a nursery rhyme. Here we go. And let me make sure you guys can see that good. Little Tommy Tucker sings for his supper. What shall we give him? White bread and butter. How shall he cut it without ever knife? How will he be married without ever wife? Next we have the story of the Gingerbread Man. Once upon a time, a little old woman and her little old husband lived alone in a little old house. The couple had no children, so she carefully mixed up a batter. Next up, we'll hear the story of the Gingerbread Man. Once upon a time, a little old woman and her little old husband lived in a little old house. The couple had no children, and being lonely, the woman decided to make a boy out of gingerbread. She carefully mixed the batter, rolled out the dough, and cut out a very nice gingerbread man. She added sugar icing for his hair, clothes, and mouth. She used candy for his buttons and his eyes. What a fine-looking gingerbread man he was. The old woman put him in the oven to bake. Almost ready now, said the old woman, and she slowly opened the oven to have a look. And out jumped the gingerbread man. Oh, there he is. Bless my cinnamon stars, said the woman. He pattered across the floor and ran right out the door. Stop, called the old woman and the old man. Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. The old woman and the old man ran after them, but they could not catch him. And so the gingerbread man ran and ran. Here they are running. Come on, lady. Okay. Scurrying along the path, the gingerbread man soon met a very hungry pig. Oink, 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 said the pig. You look like you would make a fine dinner. Come closer so I can have a bite, Mr. Gingerbread Man. But the gingerbread man just laughed. I ran away from an old woman. I ran away from an old man. And I can run away from you, I can. So he ran singing, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. And the pig, here he is running, ran after him. But he could not catch him. The gingerbread man kept running, and soon he came upon a very hungry cow. Here's the cow. Moo, said the cow. You look delicious. Come here, little man. And with a great moo, the cow thundered after the gingerbread man. But the gingerbread man was faster, saying, I ran away from an old woman. I ran away from an old man. I ran away from a pig, and I can run away from you, I can. And he laughed, ha ha ha. Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. And off he ran as fast as his little legs could carry him, and the cow could not catch him. Oh, milkshakes, said the cow. Gingerbread Man ran and ran, laughing and singing, and while he ran, he met a horse. "Nay, hey," said the horse, "you look mighty tasty. I think I would like to eat you." "But you can't," said the gingerbread man. "I ran away from an old woman, and I ran away from an old man. I ran away from a pig, and I ran away from a cow, and I can run away from you, I can." So he ran and sang, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The horse galloped after the gingerbread man, but he could not catch him. On and on he ran until he came upon a river. He wanted to cross it, but he was afraid of getting wet. Just then a fox appeared. "Hello, little gingerbread man. Maybe I can help you. If you climb on my tail, I'll carry you across," he said. "Mr. Fox," he said, "as tasty as I appear to be, I cannot let you catch and eat me. I ran away from an old woman, and I ran away from an old man. I ran away from a pig, I ran away from a cow, I ran away from a horse, and I can run away from you, I can." But to the gingerbread man's surprise, the fox wasn't interested. "Why would I want to eat you?" asked Mr. Fox. "You don't look like you taste good at all." The gingerbread man was so relieved. "Well, indeed, Mr. Fox," said the gingerbread man, "if you don't mind, I would love a ride across this river." All right, so here we go. We're going to put him in the river, and we'll put him right here. So he climbed on the fox's tail, and the fox started swimming. As the water got deeper, his tail was dragging in the water. Uh-oh. "I'm so sorry," said the fox. "Why don't you climb on my back?" But here we go. He climbed onto his back. But soon the water was lapping over the fox's back. "I'm so sorry," smirked the fox. "Why don't you climb on my head?" The gingerbread man scrambled on top of the fox's head. All right. But the water, it rose higher still. All right, here we go. They're almost across. So the gingerbread man climbed on the top of the fox's nose. And here we go. That's a very funny position, isn't it? The fox tossed his head and snap! He gobbled up the gingerbread man. Yum. And then he said, he did taste good. Well, we can't hear the story of the gingerbread man without singing the Muffin Man. So I'll go ahead and get that song out for you. Oh, do you know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man? Do you know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane? Oh, yes, I know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man. Oh, yes, I know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane. The two of us know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man. Yes, the two of us know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane. Well, what is the Muffin Man going to bake for us? How about a patty cake? Patty cake, baker's man. Bake me a cake as fast as you can. Roll it and pat it and mark it with the C. Put it in the oven for children and me. I hope you enjoyed our stories today. See you next time.